Okay, welcome everyone to another weekly growth session. This nice. We're getting back into the groove of things. It's been a nice long summer to relax, and now we are getting the ball going. Most of you already know Laura and I, but if you haven't connected with us already, Laura's contact information is there. Mine is on the right-hand side. And then if you wanted to follow along with Acorn, we will be posting about more events shortly. Follow the QR code in the top right-hand corner, or if you're not part of our Facebook group yet either, bottom left-hand corner. So today we're going to be talking about how to do an Instagram audit. And I know this is a small group and I probably know the answer to most of this, but how many people are currently using Instagram for their business? Hand up or thumbs up. Everyone, I know Ryan is. Dakota, how's that going for you?
Yeah, basically non-existent right now.
Yeah, it'll get there. We'll get there. I'm excited. Okay, perfect. So let's just cover exactly what an Instagram audit is. So an Instagram audit is a thorough examination of your Instagram account to assess its performance and alignment with your branding goals. Through this process, you systematically review various elements of your profile, from your bio to your posts, engagement rates, aesthetics, and even effectiveness of your hashtags. It's basically a health checkup for your Instagram, revealing what's working, what isn't, and where there's room for improvement. Now, why should you do an audit and why is it important? In this ever-evolving landscape of social media, staying static is never an option. So conducting an Instagram audit ensures that your profile remains current, competitive, and you're really keeping up with your audience and their behaviors. It helps you pinpoint the content that resonates, enabling more informed strategic decisions. Moreover, the Instagram's algorithm continually updating, and audit can ensure that you're maximizing your reach and your engagement, keeping your brand at the forefront for your followers' feeds. And for all of you who have been using Instagram, every week there are updates and there are changes. So doing an audit every once in a while couldn't hurt. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to split it up into 4 parts. So part 1 is going to be your profile. So your Instagram profile is the first thing visitors will see and the first thing they will examine to determine if your business is actually worth the follow. Your profile should give a clear idea of who you are, what you do, and how you can help. So first thing, we're going to take a look at your profile picture. So your profile picture, make sure it's a high quality and up-to-date image that accurately represents your business. If you are a company with many people or a location, you might want to consider using a logo as your profile picture, but there's also the option of using a professional photo of you. This is really good for people who are actually selling themselves. So influencers, coaches, consultants. You could even have a little bit of both. You could have a photo of yourself and your logo, but just keep in mind that it is a very small space and it needs to be recognizable on a very small screen. Then we're going to take a look at your bio. So your bio should clearly communicate what your business is about, what you offer, and who you serve. So your bio has essentially 150 character limit, and I always recommend, make sure you use every word because every word counts. If you are a location-based business, be sure to add your location. You can actually add it in there so people can click on it and it will help get them directions. Or if you don't have a business address, you can actually add in your region in your bio space. So you could say Hamilton, Ontario, or Niagara, Ontario, or Calgary. So that when people take a quick look at it, they know exactly where you are.
Emily, sorry. Are you aware if they've added virtual or online as a location yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, not that. Okay, that's a good question though, Renee. I'm going to look into that actually. So another thing for your profile is your link in bio. So this is a great place to drive traffic. So consider using a link to your business's website, or you can use a third-party website like Linktree, BioLink. You could even use Milkshake, I've used in the past, which will give you the opportunity to have multiple links to share. Instagram now does allow you to share multiple links. It doesn't show all in the bio, like you would show like your primary link. You can click on it and it'll show a list. If you are to do this, make sure that the title that you have for that link is very clear. And you do actually title it and keep it simple so people know exactly what to click on. Perfect. There is also a QR code in the bottom right, bottom of this slide. If you wanted to take a look at more bio link options, the blog is also on our website as well. Next is contact information. So on Instagram, you can actually fill in your company's contact info. This allows you to keep it super simple. Your followers should be able to easily find how to get in touch with you. So make sure your email and or phone number is accessible. You can use the call to action buttons Instagram provides to help keep things clean and organized. And you'll find all of those buttons in your edit profile when you go into your Instagram. You can also add a book now button, which is really cool, but it only works with certain platforms. I'm not sure if it works for Calendly, but I know it works for Acuity and some of the other ones as well. So you can actually add a button, people can click it and go directly to your book now page. So part number 2 is analyzing your content. So we're going to take a look at your images, your graphics, and your videos. So I've put together a little reel. If Garden Grows actually existed, this is what we would post. So for your images, they should be high quality, well lit, and on brand. If you are taking your own photos, try using natural light and a tripod to steady your camera. If you are adding filters or editing the photos before publishing, try using the same filters or settings on all the images to make sure that they stay on brand and consistent. And then for your graphics, all graphics should align with your brand colors, fonts, and styles. Also be sure that all your graphics, especially the ones for text, are accessibility friendly. So please ensure that you have enough contrast between your colors and your text is actually large enough to read so people don't have to zoom in. And for your videos, the quality of your video and audio should be essentially good enough for people to understand what's going on. This doesn't mean that each video must be professionally filmed. In reality, most Instagram reels and like videos are shot on mobile devices, but it's just making sure that, you know, there's not too much going on. It's not too shaky. As you can see the video on the right-hand side, you can clearly see that I'm walking through a greenhouse. And then there is very simple text at the very top, letting them know that, you know, let's tour our new greenhouse. And then they can read more in the caption. So caption effectiveness. So all your captions should be engaging, provide value, and inspire action. Don't forget to use branded relevant hashtags to increase your visibility. Also keep in mind that Instagram will scan your caption for keywords to help push out your content to new users. So this one is really important. And this is kind of new information that has been surfacing that Instagram actually announced that they do scan your captions. So if you do have written text in your image, if there are graphics, it's always recommended to take whatever's written in those graphics and also include it in your caption, because they cannot scan your graphics very well. It's so much easier to scan captions as well for accessibility purposes. So if somebody is using a platform where they need something to read, like read the text and translate it into audio, it does not read graphics very easily. So if you do have a caption, it's easier for accessibility. Post frequency and relevance. So here's another thing to take a look at when you are doing your audit is, you know, are you posting too often or not enough? The right balance will keep your followers engaged without overwhelming them. If you are struggling to post consistency, try creating a schedule that works best for you and for your business. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to post every single day. It doesn't mean that you have to post at this exact time every single day. Do what works for you. But Instagram likes consistency and being like, and just showing up. So let's say if you do have a day or if you have a week that you are struggling to post content, just show up, do some engaging, repost something into your stories, but just be there. And then if you start to let's say you do have a schedule of posting 3 times a week and you're like, I have a little bit of extra time, I've done all my planning. I think I can do a little bit more. Then maybe do 4 days a week. If you do find that you like 5 days a week is a little bit too much, maybe let's take off a day. Or let's see if the type of content that you're doing can be simplified a little bit more or automated a bit more. And for relevance, your content should always be relevant to your brand and of interest to your target audience. So is your content following your content pillars? If not, consider why and like why you may have published it in the first place. And we'll talk a little bit more content pillars down the road. Part 3 is your analytics. So we're going to dive into your engagement metrics, understanding how your audience interacts with interacts with your content is crucial for your growth. So knowing, how well your posts are actually performing. We're going to take a look at likes, comments, shares, and saves. So during your audit, you're going to take a look at, what types of content are generating the most engagement. So take note, this will be our guide to future content strategy. Let's say you are posting a whole bunch of reels on, a new product or a new service, but it's not doing very well. But maybe you talking about your upcoming events is doing really well. That might shift your strategy a bit. You can use Instagram's native insight feature, or you can consider third-party tools like Sprout Social or Hootsuite for a more in-depth analysis. So you can actually go right into Instagram and you'll see all of these analytics. They are super simple, very easy to navigate through. You can also go in through Meta Business Suite. They give you a lot of insights. And then it's also a comparison between like Facebook and Instagram if you are doing both. Depending on the scheduling platform, most of them do have analytics. Laura and I have used PlanNat in the past, and they do have some really, really nice analytics. And they're also really aesthetically pleasing to look at. So next, we're going to take a look at your follower growth. So when you're taking a look, when you're doing your audit, take a look to see how your followers are growing. So your follower count should be steadily increasing. If you are finding it going up and then down and up and down, kind of like that inconsistent wave, take a look at the timeline in which it's going down and then back up and seeing if there's something that is causing people to drop off or to come on board. Maybe you are consistently doing giveaways and it's causing people to drop off after the giveaway, but then come back when you do one. Maybe people are coming on for events, or if there's something new that you introduced and you lost a whole bunch of followers, that could be something to look into as well. You can check your audience tab in the Instagram Insights for a snapshot of your follower growth over time. I do find the mobile app for Instagram, looking at your followers, is a little condensed. I do actually recommend going into Meta Business Suite. You have a little bit of a better view. So next, we want to take a look at your stories and your reels. So analyzing the engagement on your stories and reels, this can indicate whether your followers are engaging with your video and longer form content. And the reason I say longer form is because people can spend more time on those types of content versus graphics. Graphics and photos are easily skimmable. There's not much to take a look at, but you want to see how engaged people are with that actual video content. You can find this data under the content tab in your professional dashboard. Another thing to really take a look at is your optimal post times. Now, some people might argue with me on this one, on whether the optimal post times is accurate or not. And this metric will always change as well. The more that you do these audits and the more that your audience expands, if you are starting out with a smaller audience, these analytics, might not be as wide range. But then the more that your followers grow, the more specific that you can get. So you want to determine when your followers are most active on the platform, and recommended to post at these times for increased engagement. So you're more likely for your audience to see it. You can find the Instagram Insights under the Followers tab, scroll down to the very bottom, and you'll see when they're most active. Again, this doesn't give you a super, super accurate timing on the app, Meta is really great for that, or these third-party platforms like Hootsuite, they gave you very, very specific times. If you wanted to take a look at one of our social media calendars and analytics trackers, in the top right-hand corner is kind of like a little brief snapshot of how some of the metrics that we keep track of for our social media platforms. And you can use the QR code in the bottom there, or it also is in our resources tab on the website. Part 4, we're going to take a look at your Instagram strategy. So based on everything that we've learned so far, we're going to work on revising your Instagram strategy. So move forward with a clear, data-informed plan to take your Instagram presence to the next level. So first step is we're going to plan for future content. So remember, quality is key, but the type of content matters as well. So my tip for you is focus on really defining your content pillars. So this will help you create content that aligns with your brand and keeps you on the right path. So I have created, and for those of you who have followed along with Garden Grows with us before, we do have our content pillars. So for Instagram, what we've done is we want to do showcase products. We want to share not marketing tips. That's supposed to be something else. And then promote, grow. And then these are the wrong ones. Sorry about that, guys. So these content pillars are going to be aligning with Garden Grows, not this one. So we're going to focus on community tutorials. We're going to promote new products, events, and then we're going to have plant features, which is how we're going to plan out our week. This template can also be found on in your Grow portal. Okay. So next, we're going to start setting some new goals. So depending on how you want to use your platform, your goals might have changed over time. At the very beginning, when you first started using Instagram, your goal might have been, oh, I really want to grow followers. But now it might shift to, I want to drive more traffic to the website because you've already built those followers. So these are some business objectives down here, as well as social media goals, and then some of the metrics to start paying more attention to. And then we are going to start scheduling your posts. So consistency is a major factor in Instagram success. So develop a regular posting schedule to keep your audience engaged. So you can use social media management tools like Hootsuite or Later, Plan, Meta, to schedule your posts in advance, or you can create a custom calendar to match your organizational needs, which is what I've done in the past. Sometimes these social media calendars don't have everything that I need, and they're not great collaboration tools sometimes. So I actually have created my own custom calendar. Next, we're going to take a look at your hashtag strategy. So review and update your hashtag strategy to maximize visibility. It's best to use a blend of trending, industry-specific, and branded hashtags. So I recommend making a list and organizing them by category. It's not to say that you have to use these hashtags every single time, but when you are creating a post, it's helpful to have certain categories to pull from. And I know I'm going to get a question afterwards about how many hashtags to use. Instagram allows you to use up to 30. But there have been a lot of articles and announcements from Instagram and Instagram creators about how many that you should use. Currently, right now, they recommend to use only 3 to 5. They want you to be super specific with your hashtags. I personally use anywhere between 8 to no more than 12. I haven't found too much of a difference using 8 compared to 3. It really is something that you kind of have to test out, especially in the industry. All industries are going to be different with how hashtags perform, but I personally would not recommend any more than 12. So final question, how often should you be doing an Instagram audit? So while there's no strict timeline that fits, it's generally recommended to conduct an Instagram audit at least twice a year, kind of like how you would do an audit for anything else, like for your website. However, if you are noticing significant shifts in your engagement or follower count, it might be a sign that you need to do one sooner. So some reasons, why you might need to do one is you have an engagement drop if your posts aren't getting likes, comments, and shares like they did before. follower plateau or decline. So if your follower growth is like decreasing, or if it's going up like really high, like I said, like that wave, if you're noticing a lot of that. Branding changes. So if you've recently rebranded or shifted the focus of your business, if there's any algorithm updates, ensure that you're up to date with Instagram's ever-changing algorithm. And content consistency. If you feel like your content varies in quality, this might be your time to take a look and, really define that brand message. We do have a lot of resources. I know we've talked about Instagram a lot, and we have developed a lot of things over time. So we do have a whole bunch on the website. All of these are available in the Grow portal. If you are not a member, you can scan this QR code in the bottom right-hand corner. We do actually have all of them in our resource tab on the website, except this blue one right here. This is our social media content batching template. It is only available in the Grow portal.
Thank you. And I think a lot of us were staring at our phones while you were doing that, like following along. Because our pace, like, this is, so I'm so excited because now I have to do a story just to while we're doing this. So feel free to multitask, ask questions.
Yeah, and I know we have done a previous Grow session on analytics, like just analytics. I was debating about going more into it, but that would have taken me the entire hour to do. So this was pretty high level. And also remember too, like your Instagram audit is going to look different from everybody else's because it'll all depend on the information that you pull. So if you do find, your results are, let's say if your followers have plateaued, your audit is going to look different from somebody's who has gotten a decline. It really should be custom to you, but getting started, this is a really great thing to do. And I don't know if everybody caught it at the end, but I do have a checklist of everything that I talked about in the Grow portal. Or if you're not part of the Grow portal, it is on our website. It's a digital download. And then this checklist too was also part of a challenge Laura put out during the summer. And not sure if anybody did it. I know most of you saw it, but if you actually did it is another question. But this whole thing was a challenge that we did in the summer. And Laura, did you end up doing the challenge?
Yeah, I'm not sure if well, yes, actually, I did part of it. It inspired me to do my own audit. So I went in, and I don't know, you can actually, and I'm going to drop my Instagram handle. You guys feel free to drop your handle in the chat too if you want anyone to follow, do whatever. So yes, I did. And part of my audit was you going, Laura, you actually need to do more video. I went, really? It's like if you're selling your services and you're selling who you are, you got to show up. So that was Emily's advice to me, of which I did a couple little videos and a lot of frustration. And it took a long time, but I found by the second one, it was much easier. So I'm hoping it'll just keep getting easier. So yes, I did do it, and I have a work in progress. I went into Asana, started to put in all of my content in Asana, which has helped me. I have my Canva grid. I did an Instagram grid. So I did do it. Yeah. So it does work. And now I feel a little better because I actually know what's supposed to be coming now. So I have a plan.
You're outposting me right now.
Haha.
I know it's not a competition.
No,
but
of course not.
You are outposting.
If you do a live and say, oh my goodness, I don't have time to post, and I do a quick live, does that show up to Instagram like you're engaging, like you're doing something?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you show up for a live, that's a huge form of engagement that Instagram does notice.
Okay.
And for those of you who are following on, you've probably noticed, but Instagram is really pushing video content. So whether that is you showing up on a recorded story, if you're posting a reel, or if you're showing up live, they want that.
Okay. Problem with that is that a lot of people are camera shy.
Yes. And there are things you can do if you are camera shy, that is actually, I think that's another one of our webinars coming up, is how to show up on camera without actually showing up on camera. And I know it took me a really long time to be comfortable on camera, but it's the practice, but it's also knowing that you need to be on it, I think is kind of a good motivator, right, Laura? Me telling you that you need to show your face more and you go and do it.
Yes, and having someone accountable, and that's where I love about Grow, right? All of us, you know, can be that supportive group to one another, and just going, you know, it's not perfect, and that's okay, because it's real and it's you. And it did take me a while, because I am not, I do not like being on camera. Emily knows that that's a big challenge. So I did it. And I found, for me, I used a program called Big View. Emily doesn't like to use it. We have different ways of scripting, and I will find it and drop it in. And what it does is it actually has AI too. So you can it will help you create a script, and then it's a teleprompter. So it will come across, and then you can change the speed too. Took me a little while, but by, you know, the 10th take, I almost had it memorized anyways. But it really does help you, so you can look at the screen. So anyway, I don't know if there's any other tips out there.
Yeah, I've tried Big View. I do like it. I think the reason I didn't like it was because of the watermark in the bottom, because I didn't pay for it. And I think it could have been in my settings, but I think it lowered the quality of my video when I exported it.
Could be. And I wouldn't use Big View for like YouTube stuff. This was really just for my reels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the reels too, if you do something in like super, super high quality, Instagram's going to compress it anyways, because it has to be able to publish it. You can do it in like 4K. Again, it's not going to look 100% 4K as it would like on your phone. It does compress it, especially, and keep in mind too, when you are using publishing platforms, you are now basically, think of it as like filtering your video through another platform. So if I was to upload a video to Plan, which is the platform that we use, now Plan has to compress it, and then it now has to go into Instagram. So it's a lot of compressing. You can schedule your reels directly in Instagram, which is a new feature. It has been great. I do find there are limitations though. So some audio does not allow for scheduling. Same with collaboration. You can't schedule a collabed reel. And some like advanced settings get turned off. And then sometimes it doesn't work. So you kind of have to like set reminders for yourself. So it's to make sure that it goes out. It's not the greatest, but I mean, if you do know that you're not going to be available at that time, it's a great tool.
Emily, can you explain what a collab reel is and what the value of having a collab reel versus having just someone tagged in a reel?
Yes, absolutely. So Laura and I are a huge fan of collabs. One, it eliminates the work if you have two accounts. So we've actually, and I'll be open with you guys, our social media strategy has adjusted a little bit, especially for Instagram. We are now doing more collaborations with all of our team members to show up more as like influencers. So if Laura does a post on her influencer account and then sends the collaboration invite to Acorn, that's now a post that Acorn doesn't have to do. They just have to accept it, and then it collabs. The benefit of that, aside from that, is you're able to share your audience. So if Laura has her audience and Acorn has their audience, now both audiences are seeing the same post, and it leaves room for opportunity to, expand your audience and bring new people into either platform.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So that's like when Renee and I do a collaborative session, instead of her doing a post and me sharing it in my story, if one of us tags the other as a collaborator, we can share exactly the same thing in the exact same format?
Yes. So keep in mind when you are doing collab posts is it will show up on your feed. So some struggles that I've found in the past, especially working with other businesses, is if somebody sends a collabed post, but you have a very strict grid, and it doesn't match, then some people are hesitant to accept the collaboration, especially with how the caption is worded as well. If it's directed more towards one audience than the other, then it might make the other person hesitant to accept. So when you are creating something for a collab, have the intention that it needs to be seen on both platforms, on both accounts. Another thing to keep in mind too is if you are doing like a reel, if you wanted to have audio attached to it, there are some accounts that might not have access to that audio, which won't allow you to collaborate. Yes. Or if somebody's post or somebody's account is private, collaborations will not work. Yeah.
So Emily and I, when we did, if you look at my Instagram, we did a post to collab with Acorn. That was the first and will be the first of more. And we actually collaborated on what that's going to look like. So we talked about what's the graphic, and I made a graphic and she went, well, can we just adjust it a little bit because it has to be here? And then she says, and then I had to be considerate of the Acorn grid. It's like, well, when can it go out? And so this is where we used Asana. So we actually have that collaborative piece too. And so we collaborated on the caption, collaborated on what the graphic's going to look like, but we're not going to have to actually collaborate every single time. She just said, okay, here's the template. So when we want to do it, just make sure my grid is here, and it doesn't stack on top of another color like that. So now that we have it done, she has empowered me to go ahead and do it myself. So it really, truly has been a collaborative process.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you can set it up in many different ways. You can use Asana, or someone can create the post, send it over for approval, and then essentially propose when you want to post it. Or what you could even do is have like a shared Canva document, be like, here's the templates that you're allowed to work with, and you can agree upon all of it. And that's where you can even have like all of your logo files and stuff like that. That'd be a good one as well. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I have another question. I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but I'm going to represent the people who are very, very new to Instagram and have pretty low engagement, since I'm just looking to grow it. But I'm finding, so I've only been active really, and even if I can call that active, this year. And it's slowly growing, but I find that it's not my target customers that I'm growing with. It's a lot of people in my industry who do the same thing I do, people who want to sell me things, and nonsense spammers that like are private accounts with 4 posts and 1,000 followers. So where do I go from here?
So I'm actually really glad that you brought this up, because this is a conversation that I have with a lot of people. When you're having you're doing your business plan and all that, you do your target audience, right? Like that's a huge part of it. Your social media target audience might be different. Not completely different, but they might have different goals, different motivators, because you're not taking a look at the whole picture. You're taking a look at just them being in this location. And then you also are taking a look at the different platforms. So let's say, Dorothy, like most of your people are on Facebook. That's great. But you really want to have that Instagram presence. It's kind of like a staple piece. If you have Facebook, you kind of have to have Instagram. But if you're finding that your Instagram, like the people you're targeting on Instagram aren't getting as involved, you might want to, again, do that audit, see what posts people are engaging with, how your audience is behaving, the type of people that are following you, and you might want to shift the type of content that you're putting out. Your goals might change, because if you're finding that you're connecting with people more in your industry, this could be an opportunity for you to build more of a community, to share helpful resources instead of it being used as like a sales platform. It's that community place. And you have to think about it too. If there are people like your potential customers that are following other people in your industry that are following you, you might pop up as a recommendation if you're posting content that other people are following. It was kind of a word jumble, but I hope that is making, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's actually really great. And I probably needed that other push that I am not on Facebook and I should be. So
yeah, Facebook is I have my love and hate relationship with Facebook. I think it is a great platform because it allows you to do so much more than Instagram allows, like post links for one. You can have Facebook groups. I know you can have groups on Instagram, but it's not as seamless as Facebook groups. You can post events. You can create like additional pages. It is a really great platform. It's almost up there with like having a website, because it does host all of your information, and your Facebook page is more searchable when people are Googling you than your Instagram. It's just a place that has more information. So I think it's a really good place to be. And if you're not super into having Facebook, just maintain it. Just post every once in a while. Make sure all of your your contact information is up to date. Post some events, have a separate strategy for Facebook than you do Instagram. Maybe your Instagram is more high volume. You want to post more. And then it's like, okay, well, what can I now take from what I'm posting on Instagram and take it over to Facebook? Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship I have with Facebook, especially with all the changes. It's intense. And then threads.
But
Yeah.
And my last Grow weekly email, hopefully everyone got it. I always check in stats, like, is Facebook even still people using it? And it's still the most popular social media platform out there. So even if we like it or don't like it, if our audience is there, that's one of that checklist, right? Of to use it.
Do you think Facebook is one of the more popular ones because you're basically required to have it because of Instagram?
I no. I think that's a bonus for sure, but it has been the most popular for years, even before Instagram. Like, that's just one more reason to keep it going. I think they're still trying to feed the monster kind of idea, but no, Facebook, I think a lot of people it's just such a wide variety of reasons why to be on Facebook, right? Where Instagram is very visual, Facebook is everyone from grandma and grandpa to kids who want to go on to an event, and so many industries that it's just big. It's just massive, and it continues to grow. But I think that's a check mark, Emily, for sure, on why it keeps growing. But it has been the most popular, and I have been doing webinars for small business owners for 7 years now. And every time we did a survey for who showed up to our events on what was the most popular, Facebook. The only time Facebook was not the most popular one in our survey, and we would get hundreds, is by LinkedIn sessions. So LinkedIn obviously was the primary lead on that. So from granular research to large statistics, it continues to perform. Yeah.
And it has so much, like, especially with like Facebook Marketplace, like it's so much more than just a social media platform, which is probably why it's so popular, because people might join for one feature or like another, whereas, Instagram really is a social media platform, and same with all the other ones. So I think that's really cool.
Can I ask one more question, and then I'm gonna shut up and let other people ask things. So if I heard you correctly, Emily, if I post a picture on Instagram and I don't give it a caption and I don't give it a hashtags, I might as well not have posted anything, because I'm not hitting those Instagram algorithm markers.
Like, I don't want to be the person to say yes,
But
but
yes.
yes. You are given a lot of tools with Instagram, and Instagram wants you to use all of them. If you are posting a picture, like without a caption, without hashtags, if somebody is, following you consistently, and really engaging with your content, and you post something like that, you're probably only going to get exposed to the people that are currently following you, and might not be pushed to the people who are following you but might not engaging, and then you probably most definitely will not get pushed to like new people. Use that caption, and use these hashtags as an opportunity to insert those keywords to potentially get in front of people you have not yet connected with, or people who have seen your stuff but might not have followed you yet. I hope that helps. And I had something else I was going to say. Now I can't remember what it was. Yes. So captions, please use your captions. Yeah.
There was another, and I think it was my last post. I can't remember if it was a post or reel, but I had a chance to go in and say what topics they were relevant to. And does that would extend my reach to people that are following topically, right?
Theoretically, yes. I personally have not seen any proof that actually helps.
Oh, okay.
It can't hurt. But I have been using it and I've experimented with it and I haven't found much of a difference. But I do remember what I was going to say, Dorothy. So Instagram is always coming out with new features. And most of you have probably heard me say this before. Anytime Instagram comes out with a new feature, use it like right away, try it out, because Instagram wants people to use their stuff. And so let's, like, for example, when Reels came out, I jumped on that right away and my videos were getting 11 to 15K views, but there was no analytics yet. But because they were competing with TikTok and stuff, this was a new feature that they're always trying. The more that you are trying these new features right away, the more Instagram is going to grant you early access, the more likely they will. So if there's a new feature that comes out and you really want to use it, you might have to wait, because Instagram only pushes out new things to like a small group of people for testing, and then they do it to a larger group and then a larger, and then you keep going. So the more that you're testing these new features, the more likely you will get newer features before somebody else. Yeah. So how many people are creating video right now or want to create video for Instagram Reels? Dorothy, yes. Yes, amazing. Everyone. I know Laura is. I know Ryan is. Dakota's going to get there. Yeah.
So some tips, Emily, on the different kinds. I mean, I did I done a few answer the frequently asked question ones, but is there any other ideas on what we can do for videos?
I find that there's like a few different styles. There's one where you're actually like filming yourself, you're talking directly to the camera. Those ones are always really good, especially for like informational ones. There's ones where you're just using a trending audio and maybe you're doing like a little trending like dance or something related to the topic. Maybe one where you're like pointing to the screen and then text comes up. Another one is something that I've been seeing a lot more is people just having a whole bunch of like stock videos of themselves. And then, so let's say, I think I did one recently, actually. And I filmed myself just sitting at my desk, like working. And then there was text that just kind of popped up. Those are really great, especially if you don't like talking in front of a camera. You're still showing yourself and you're showing what you do. And then you have information coming up in front of you. I always recommend having a mix of all of this. because if you are just using trending audio, I mean, it's fun, it's great. But then if people are really invested and they really want to learn more about you, they're not going to hear you talking. They're not going to hear how you say things. Or if you are only doing ones where it's you talking, like the really informational ones, you might not reach as big of an audience because a lot of people are following, like your followers might be paying attention to like the trending TikToks or oh my goodness, the trending reels. So it's really good to have a mix of all of them.
And
Like-
also it depends on your business strategy and the tone of voice of your branding. And if it's, quite casual, you can really utilize whatever is on CapCut or other platforms that have that leverage for different stock material and memes and all that fun stuff that comes into play. So it all depends on what your brand allows you to utilize.
Absolutely, because if you are someone who is part of the more corporate world, you will be limited on some of the things that you can do. But I mean, if you are pretty casual and that's your audience and your audience needs that, you do have a little bit more freedom to pay attention to the trending stuff. It doesn't, like, if you are in more of the corporate space, it doesn't mean that you can't participate in trending things, but you have to be careful on your voice and, like the language that you're using, because if you are trying to get in front of investors, other business owners and stuff, they might be like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to be a part of this. They're doing some weird dance. It's like, yeah, you don't want to do that, but you could use that audio to express something else if you really wanted to. But then you have to, like, is my audience actually listening to that audio, or am I just pulling it because I have personal time? So,
And it's also helpful for inspiration, because when I was doing my videos, I found a lot of ideas in there that I could just record my screen and use a little bit less of my face. And, that helped when I was trying to kind of sew things back together and, put some visuals in there, because a lot of what I did was on my screen, and it helped to kind of record my camera and then put myself in it and kind of bring it all together with text. So if that would be helpful to people, just shop around in CapCut and get some ideas.
screen recordings are also really good too. If you have like a new product or something, or like a digital download, doing a screen recording of showing people how to get there.
Or even demos, because demos are helpful.
Huge. Yeah.
What do you recommend what tool do you recommend for doing screen recordings?
Just your phone.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Like there's, do you have an iPhone, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you scroll top right-hand corner, scroll down, there should be a little circle right there. The screen recording button.
I don't see it. Is my phone that old that I don't have that? I don't have that.
No, you might have to go
And
into
add
Yeah.
it.
It's settings.
into your
Okay.
settings, adjust your, I think it's your launch screen or your, yes, there's a, you can add it there, but your phone allows you to do screen recordings, which is really cool.
I did not know that. I did not know that. That is like, wow, money well spent right there.
Yeah. Amazing. You can also do screen recordings on your computer too. If you wanted to do something for Instagram Reels, what I'd recommend doing is making sure that whatever window that you're recording is condensed. So you record it so it does fit in that frame, so you don't have those like weird black boxes at the top and the bottom. Because you want to take up as much landscape as you can when you are doing videos, and to actually fit on the phone instead of it being, designed for landscape.
Yeah. And I use Teams and Zoom sometimes for doing that, because you have an option to start a meeting and no one's there, but you're just talking and zooming with yourself.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
yeah, I've done that too. Or I've used QuickTime or a Quick Player on your computer. That's really good for screen recordings.
And then Canva lets you do it too. So I did our entrepreneurial vision vision board, I think, recording. When I had to re-record it, I just did the screen, press present, and it automatically puts me in the corner. So that works really well if you're doing even a sales presentation to a client, because you can do the presentation, there you are, and you just send them the link. And so they can see the link.
Loom is another one.
Lou, a lot of
That's
people use Loom.
really, really popular. It is on the pricier side, I think. But it's really good. I've played
Yeah, if
around.
you want paid accounts, Prezi is good too.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can record yourself on that too,
Yes,
Penise?
and there's a lot of features that you can play your featured screen on your behind, and capture a background, and meanwhile you're talking ahead of it, and you can point at things. It's basically your green screen for your weatherman effect.
And so you could do that on your phone probably, and that becomes a reel,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so if you have a presentation. Oh,
Exactly. Yeah. You could do it on several devices. You could do it on your iPads, have yourself as a guest and record it that way. There's a lot of ways to do it.
And yes, and for anyone who hasn't used Prezi in the past, Penise and I, we were talking about that. It's like, oh, that's so old school. It's like, no, and in the old days, it was very early and really wasn't the greatest, but now they've come so far. So revisit that one if you guys haven't used Prezi for a while. So seriously cool.
Yeah, but it is a paid account, so watch out for that. Because a lot of the features are not included in the unpaid version. The free version is not, really friendly. So you might go in there and go, "What were they talking about? This is not friendly."
Good point. Good point. Very good point. Cool. All right. Well, that was really good. Reminder to everyone that the recording will be up in the portal. I'm going to work on that today. And if you missed yesterday's session with Dakota, it will be up there as well. I'm going to do it at the same time. If you are not a Grow member, might be the time to join, but also you can get this Instagram audit on the Acorn website as far as that goes. The downloads and stuff like that will be there. So that's it. That's all there is to it. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find Emily, myself. I put in her Instagram there too. You can always DM us. I mean, there's so many ways to get in touch with us. So feel free to do that. And next week, what is next week? Is it your Instagram community one? I can't even remember.
It's website audits.
Oh, website audits.
With me again.
Yes.
With me again.
Oh, thanks, Dakota. Yes, that's right. So Emily and Dakota will be tag teaming the website audit next week. And so that's a good one, kind of a harsh one. I know for me, it's always scary to have someone else, go, ooh, audit your website, because none of us want to do anything wrong. But man, they've got some really good tips and ways for you to do it yourself first. If you need help, you can always reach out to us too. But next week's session will be a good one. So we look forward next Wednesday to seeing you guys 10 a.m. If you, I will be sending out an email too with the links every week in case you forget. But acornstudio.marketing/events is where you can find all of our upcoming stuff.